We've already talked about how the 7 layers of scare begins with the decision of what the art direction will be, which is then used to become the focus in decorating the walls, ceilings, and floors. But before we can get to the fun of playing with the accents, lighting, and all the rest, we've got to decide on the main scare. The beating heart of the 7 layers of scare, the point of our work, to get those silly people that ventured into our haunt to run right back out in terror. Let's first talk about the fun of fear. Most try to avoid fearful situations, and us haunters create them. But why? Because we have experienced the joy that fear can bring. What? Bet we didn't expect a biology lesson, but here we go. We felt our instinctive survival motor kick in when startled. Heart raced, blood pumped into our large muscles, eyes wide open. We know the drill. Our body was getting ready to do the old fight or flight thing. I mean, literally, our body was primed to fight out the attack or flee. It's all instinct, and we know there's nothing our victims can do about it. It's easy to understand the fear thing, but what about the joy part? Once they realize it's safe and really they're just in a maze in your garage, all that adrenaline is still pumping around in their bodies. That's the joy. It's a high, an adrenaline rush that we can get hooked on. Ever wonder why kids will no sooner exit the haunt and then jump right back into line? Danger makes you happy. That's why we hear the famous scream laugh in our haunts. That sound means we hit the jackpot. So how do we create the sweet, sweet sound of a scream laugh? With our main scare. But to achieve the scream laugh, we must carefully design an effective scare. There's a couple of things that already help us in our design. When a person is scared, their body's reaction is no different than between a real and imagined threat. Yay! That makes it easier for us. Reality and imagination are the same. That's why dreams seem so real. Our tots don't have to be at risk to feel at risk. Another thing that helps bring out the panic response in our victim is to use the peripheral vision monitoring to our advantage. A human being is constantly monitoring things in front and at sides of them, especially in our haunt. So if we can come at them at just the right angle, not too far behind and not too far forward to be seen easily, we're in the sweet spot. Another consideration when designing our scares, time them to last about 5 seconds. Shorter than that, and they won't have enough time to process the scare and will think to themselves, what was that? Longer, and they have enough time to see that it's just fake and the atmosphere has been ruined. It's been a hoot to see how fellow haunters have been scaring, but you've noticed that there's basically 2 main ways to scare. We should call them the cheap scare and the setup then sudden scare. The cheap scare brings up the pure panic response, like the reliable air cannon blast. Easy to use for pure freakouts. Great fun, but shouldn't be used exclusively. Darn. Unfortunately, they get aggravating and are a cheap shot. Plus, we want to entertain them as well as being scared. That leads us to the other version of a scare. The setup, then sudden scare. This type of scare puts their body on high alert, draws out the fear, and then wham, gets them. In a way, we can think of the setup as the first act. Let's talk about the many, many ways to set up our victims. Of all the years I haunted, this gag was the most fun. It's called the lame prop. While they are laughing at how stupid your prop is, kablam! Distractions are very effective setups. Another setup is to have a live actor in an obvious spot, but have a second live actor scare them from a hidden area. Now for seasoned tots, we could do another type of setup called the delay. Wait until they think it's safe, there's no scare to be found in the room, and then fire it off. Mirror mazes also does this, along with dot rooms, vortex tunnels, strobing, and 3D rooms. The horrifying display is hard not to look at. It's a sight rarely seen, so they're just darn curious. Mirror illusions like endless pits, hallways, or the man in half prop, those are fascinating. Nothing focuses the attention more than trying to keep the feet steady. Moving floors like sliding floor tiles, rope bridges, motion platforms, and squishy floors work great. Spooky displays like a graveyard, a possessed library, attic, basement, or boiler room puts the tots on high alert like tightening a spring. Let's drill down into the props we can use to pull all this off. Props can also be somewhat categorized. We should always try to pick a scare that fits our art direction, or at least tweak it to fit. Living walls are a great shock. They could be the axe blade door, stretchy wall fabric, and video projections. Wouldn't it be great to have the animated prop to real actor gag happen early in the haunt? Make them trust nothing. So this video isn't too long. Let's just let these props speak for themselves. Whew, lots to choose from. Each year, one of us haunters comes up with a completely new way to scare, and so this list will always get bigger. Can't wait to see what it'll be. In the next video, we'll be focusing on the eye candy of the haunt, the accents. Who doesn't love to accessorize? See you then.